Hi guys, it's Kelly Lativola here, and I am super excited to be part of the 12 Days of Christmas for Honeybee Stamps. Today I'm going to be using the Color Me Alpha and the Color My World set. So here I am preparing a mask because I wanted to have a white border on my card, and I'm just using Tombow Mono Multi Glue, and when it dries it's repositionable, so I just put a little bit down and kind of tap it on. I didn't end up using this mask because the border was too wide, but I did want you to see how I did it, so later on when I get to it, it'll make sense. So I'm using my Mini Misty to do my stamping, and I really love these Color Me Alphas. I think that anything that allows you to make a card your own is something that is a good tool to have in your arsenal, and it's just a good solid block font, and you can make it say whatever you want. So I decided mine was going to be Pinterest-esque. That's not a word. Whatever. Come off Pinterest. That's what I'm trying to say. Or a t-shirt at Target, because they all like, choose happy and believe in magic, and I have one that says, okay, but first coffee, which is really the best one ever. But anyway, so I thought that it would be cute to have the flowers in the background and just something that was a really positive saying. So I am using copy paper and the Tombow Mono Multi Glue. That's what I'm putting down here. And I have also masked off my letters. And this is because I want to stamp the flowers in the background and I want the letters to be in the forefront. I guess my idea was kind of like, almost like those posters that you used to have in high school with all the little positive sayings. This will just be way prettier than those. And like I could send it to a friend as a card, or I could send it to them and frame it as a gift or something like that. So I'm using the large and the small flowers for the card background, and then also there's two different kinds of leaves, and I'm using the largest ones of those. So I'm just kind of masking. I only cut 2 masks for each thing and just kind of moved them as I needed to. It is busy. It appears to be very busy with all the masks off. It's okay. We're going to make things stand out from each other, so just kind of hang with me. We are going to make it so it's legible, I promise. I colored all of the flowers the same way, and I'm only going to show you the first one because there are so many flowers. I added the darkest shading coming from the first layer, just from the center of the flower. For the larger petals, I actually did the shading so that it was rounded. So the highlight is in the center of the petal. I'm using a light hand, just the tip of my marker, and flicking motions to get that round edge. Anytime you're coloring something, it doesn't really matter what it is, the rule kind of applies, period. But especially with florals, you want to color in the direction that the petals are drawn. So just coloring these with just flat, broad strokes and expecting that they are going to look as highlighted or look as dimensional as they could isn't going to happen. You have to color it the way that it is drawn. And a lot of times that means rounding out your strokes, which can sometimes be a struggle. Don't be afraid to turn your paper. Sometimes flicking away from you is more comfortable than flicking towards you. Just do whatever you need to do to get the result that you want with your coloring. I always start with my lightest color. In case you've never watched any of my videos, I am very heavy-handed when I start with my darks. And the way that I found to kind of just circumvent that is by starting with my lightest color and laying in my shadows. That way, if I make an error, it's not hard to cover up. It's my lightest color. So it's kind of like a little fail-safe. So I got all of the shadows laid in, and then we're going to go to the next darkest color and do the exact same thing. I leave a lot of white highlight when I put down my shadows. This ensures that as I keep adding color, I'm going to keep that white highlight, which is a lot of what gives you your dimension, is your contrast. So with the darkest color and the lightest color, in this case it's going to be just a little bit of white. I am going to keep just a little bit of white so that I have a pretty strong highlight, but that's what's going to give you the multi-dimensional look. So a lot of people are afraid of darker colors, but you really do need them if you want a dimensional card that's going to just kind of pop. So don't be afraid of them. Just use a little bit. You don't have to use a lot. Don't be real heavy-handed with them, but just give it a try and see. Even if you just go one shade darker than what you normally do, just add one shade darker, you'd be surprised how much difference that can make in your cards and how much happier you can be with your coloring. So here, this is my second darkest color, and these are small areas. I probably didn't need 4 colors, but I'm just kind of like pre-programmed to pick 4 colors because that's what I normally color with. You do whatever works for you. So if you normally use 3, a light, a medium, and a dark, I'm sure that that would be sufficient for these flowers. You could even color them different colors, which I love because there's so many layers. You could just really have a super good time with it and color like, you know, a pink, a yellow, and an orange, or, you know, just something like that. There's a ton of things that you could be doing with these. I just opted to color them all one color because my card was already super busy. Even though it's one layer, I got a ton going on here. So with my darkest color, I'm really just adding a very little bit on the edge, and then we're going to go back through from darkest now back down to the lightest and kind of blend those things out. Still continuously doing those same rounded strokes. We're just going out a little farther now to kind of fill in the areas. I actually ended up skipping the B34 when I was blending. I just went straight to the B23 because I thought that I was going to lose that white highlight if I didn't. So again, do whatever works for you. I don't know how many times I say that. Somebody start counting because I've said it a lot. But I mean it, because there isn't a wrong way to do this. Whatever is appealing to you, however you want your coloring to look, that's how you should be doing it. Your coloring doesn't need to look like mine. Your coloring is beautiful as yours. So for the leaves, I picked some yellow greens, and here I'm just doing the same thing. They're like flicking motions, and I'm making the center the darkest. So where it's tucked up underneath the flower, and then the center of the leaf is going to be the darkest. I'm doing those same flicking motions, and in order to keep that little bit of texture, when I bring in my lightest color, I usually bring it in from the edge instead of going over everything. I chose another combination of greens for the other leaf, and I'm going to color it the same way. Using 2 different colors of greens just adds a little bit of interest. If I wasn't planning on doing my background of blue-green, I probably would have used that. But since I knew that I wanted my background to be that blue-green, I just decided to go with the regular green, which does have more blue in it than the yellow-green, but isn't like a true teal. So once I was happy with that, I'm just going to, I'm going to show you the center. But then from here on out, I'm just going to show you the color combinations that I used. On YouTube, there will be a complete list below of all of the Copics that I use. So if you're watching on YouTube and have any questions, be sure to check it out down there. All the supplies that I used will be down there. These are the color combinations. So this is the violets that I used, and then the pinks. And then I did a combo of violets and pinks for kind of a different look, and I really liked that color combination too. Now we're going to be moving on to the background. So all of the flowers and the leaves are colored, and it looks super clean, and I really love that. And there's a small part of me that wishes that I would have stopped right here, because I feel like maybe the background was a little bit too blue-green, but nonetheless, this is what we're doing, folks. So I'm outlining everything in my darkest color, which is the BG49, and right up to the black line. I'm even outlining the black line. So all the leaves, the letters, everything is getting an outline. And this is just a way to fill in the background to make it a little bit more interesting. Once I have all of the darker color laid down, I'm going to go in with my medium tone, and I'm being very careful to make sure that I go over that darkest color so that they blend. There is, when you're doing things like this, you'll see that when you're doing a straight line, it's much harder to blend. This particular look does not bother me. If it bothers you, just go back in with that medium tone and feather out that color, go over it again with your lightest, and everything will blend, and it's a different look. Like I said, those straight lines don't bother me, but if they bother you, this is a way to fix that and make everything blend a little nicer. I'm going to color the whole background. Then I'm going to go in and start adding some shadows. So already the Believe in Magic is clearly becoming more legible because it's bright white amongst all of this color. But I am in love with things that look 3D, so I can't just stop myself, right? I can't just have any self-control. I have to go all the way. So I am using a black marker, a black Copic marker, and I'm adding in a shadow to the letters with the black. The way I color my shadows is if my light source was in the top right hand corner, so my shadows would be to the bottom left. Once I was done with the black on the letters, I used a C7 to add shadows to the flowers and the leaves, but then also to blend in that black so it wasn't just a harsh line. I went over everything, the flowers, leaves, everything one last time with a C5. I showed you the C3, but I didn't actually use it. It was too light. For the letters, just so they aren't stark white and they have a little bit of dimension, I'm using a C1 and I'm bringing in some shadows from the left to the right. And then for the C3, I'm just adding a line of the C3 on the left-hand side, since that is where my shadows are and where the light source would be coming from. I used a white gel pen. I knew when I colored the flowers, each petal has, well, not each one, but several of them have like a white outline. I really wanted to enhance that. I thought that it was super pretty and it was a way to set off the different layers of the flower. So I wanted to, it's kind of hard to color around them, guys. I'm just going to be honest, it is. So I added the white gel pen, and then I also outlined everything on there with a Copic Safe marker because I like a black outline. Here I'm adding clear wink of Stella to the centers and some of the leaves, and then that is the entire card. So if you are watching on December 6th of 2016, these stamps are on sale, but just for today. So there will be a link in YouTube that you can follow over to the store and check out that sale. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks, bye.